Hello and welcome. I hope you guys are having an awesome weekend. Today, with it being Sunday, there's not a whole lot of brand new news. I do have some small updates with the EIDL program and the Paycheck Protection Program. However, that's not going to take very long. So today I decided to dive into the IRS's frequently asked questions page. I went into it expecting to know pretty much every answer on there, because I've been doing research on this every day. But I was actually surprised. There was a few questions on there I didn't yet know the answer to. So I figured I'd present it to you guys. Yes, it's public information. It's available on the IRS website, so you can check it out there if you want. But I know a lot of you guys appreciate me deconstructing these complicated things. And I personally think it's a lot easier just to sit and watch a video than, go through and read a fact page on, the IRS's website. So I'll get right into it. On to EIDL funding news. As of today, we're still kind of looking at a standstill. Still just 5.9% of businesses who have applied have actually received funding. This is the same number for the last 2 days in a row, despite an additional about 3,000 businesses being polled on this. It's kind of disappointing. The average funding is now looking at just over 2 weeks for the companies who have successfully received funding from these programs. So that timeline is just getting longer and longer and longer. I'm really hoping to see a bump tomorrow in the amount of businesses funded in this, with it being Monday. I'm hoping to see, some deposits going out and some more funding there. On paycheck protection news, unfortunately, we're looking at the same position. Again, we're at 5.8% of businesses who have applied receive funding. I got some more anecdotal evidence where a couple people that I know who own small businesses got funding Friday afternoon for their business. I'm not a big fan of the loan terms, but a lot of people who are in emergency situations, it definitely will be helpful. I thought, again, we'd be in a better place at the end of the weekend with more and more people submitting their reports over the weekend of funding they received last week, but unfortunately I was wrong in that case, and we're kind of still at a standstill. Again, I'm hoping to see more funding with this tomorrow once it's Monday. Lawmakers are still working on getting more funding for the small business program. They're saying, as of the most recent update, they're still saying that they think they're going to come to some kind of agreement, which will mean there's likely some amount of additional funding. It's kind of up in the air what exactly we'll end up getting. Republicans want to add $250 billion for the small business programs. Democrats want to add $250 billion for hospitals and doctors and some local government issues. So we'll see what exactly happens. Hopefully we have some more good news there tomorrow as well, or within a couple days. So on to the IRS fact page. So this is pretty dense, so I have some notes here. It says payment recipients, watch out for an IRS letter. We already know this. Basically, whether you receive a payment, you're going to get a letter from the IRS within 15 days that allows you to make a complaint if you need to. If you receive the wrong amount, you can tell them. If your dependents weren't on there, you can tell them. I guess that's good news. Most of us already know that, so I'm not going to spend much time on it. It says avoid scams related to economic payments, COVID-19. I keep bringing this up because I think it's so important, especially with people waiting. It's easier and easier to get scammed if you're out searching for a way to get this payment quicker. So I'm just going to cover this real quick. The IRS urges taxpayers to be on a lookout for scam artists trying to use the economic impact payments as a cover for schemes to steal personal information and money. Remember, the IRS will not call or text you or email you or contact you on social media. It's directly from the IRS. Watch out for emails with attachments or links claiming to have special information about economic impact payments or refunds. That is not the IRS. They're not going to reach out to you. They keep on saying that. In fact, they keep on saying, don't even contact us. They don't want any contact. If I filed jointly with my spouse, does it matter whose information I used for Get My Payment? They say either spouse can use Get My Payment by providing their own information for the security questions and to verify their identity. I know I've received this question. I haven't covered it on this channel. Once verified, the same payment status will be shown for both spouses. So that's really important. This question is, I'm not required to file a tax return. Can I still use Get My Payment to check my payment status? And they say, this isn't the greatest answer, but they're saying, depending on your circumstances, it may not be possible for you to access Get My Payment if you usually do not file a tax return. If your identity cannot be verified when answering the required security questions, you will not be able to use Get My Payment. So if you don't typically file and you use that non-filers tool, What they're saying is you either may not be able to receive your information at all and get my payment, or they simply haven't processed your information yet. If I receive a Form SSA 1099 or RRB 1099 and file a tax return, can I use Get My Payment to check my payment status? Yes, you can. You just have to answer a couple security questions and you'll be able to check it there. If I receive a Form SSA 1099 or RRB 1099 and do not file a tax return because I don't meet the income requirements to file, can I use Get My Payment and provide my bank information to receive my EIP direct deposit? This says you will not be able to use Get My Payment to provide your bank account information because you did not file tax returns for 2018 or 2019. The IRS will use the information on the Form SSA 1099 or Form RRB 1099 to generate your payment. You will receive your payment as a direct deposit or by mail, just as you would normally receive your benefits. That's a question I've received a lot of times, so hopefully that answers it for some of you. If I have an individual taxpayer identification number, can I use Get My Payment? You can access Get My Payment using an ITIN, but in most cases the law does not allow an economic payment for individuals who file a return using an ITIN. The only exception is when two spouses file a joint tax return and either spouse is a member of the U.S. Armed Forces at any time during the taxable year. So that one gets pretty darn specific in order to qualify. How long will it take for my payment status to change? They're saying updates are only made one time per day over the night. So there's no point in checking it multiple times through the day because they only update it at night. Does my Get My Payment display different stages of my payment? So this is a recently updated one. As of just the other day, they updated the FAQ. They say it's going to display one of the following statuses. Payment status. A payment has been processed, a payment date is available, and the payment is to be sent either by direct deposit or mail, or you're eligible, but a payment has not been processed and a payment date is not available. The second option might be you need more information. You're eligible for a payment, but we do not have your direct deposit information. You'll be given the opportunity to provide your bank information once you've properly verified your identity. Direct deposit is the fastest way to get your check. Payment status not available. This is the one that so many people are getting and it's so frustrating, I know. Basically, if you're getting that, it says they cannot determine your eligibility for a payment at this time. For example, if you didn't file either a 2018 or 2019 tax return, or you recently filed and the return has not been completely processed, that could be reasons why you're getting that not available. I know some people have transitioned from getting that not available to now receiving a payment or a paper check, which is progress. I know not all of you want a paper check, but at least you're still getting a payment. I'm trying to look at the silver lining here. Payment status is not available. This was just updated. Why am I getting payment status not available? Here's some reasons why you may be getting that. You're required to file a tax return, but they haven't finished processing your 2019 return. You haven't filed your 2019 tax return and didn't have direct deposit information on your 2018 return. The application doesn't yet have your data. They're working on adding more data every day, they're saying. Or you usually don't file a return and use a non-filer's enter payment info here page and they haven't processed it yet, which seems to be a lot of people. Or you receive SSA or RRB benefits or SSI benefits or VA benefits. Their information might not be loaded into their systems quite yet. Where does the IRS get your bank account information and what do you need to do to change it? Your bank account information for your economic impact payment is usually captured from either your tax return, or you provided it on the Get My Payment tool, or you provided it on the non-filers tool. If your bank account information has changed since you filed, can you update it using the tool? Yes, you can, but in some situations, they're saying. The Get My Payment cannot update direct deposit bank account information after the actual payment has been made, or scheduled for delivery is what they're saying. The tool does not allow people to change it after it's on file, but if you were scheduled to get a paper check, you can update it to get the electronic payment to receive that payment faster, potentially. There's some people who have done that, updated their information, and then still said they were gonna get a check. So we'll see, that's as of what they're saying as of yesterday when they updated this page. The next question, I no longer have the bank account that I used for my direct deposit on my tax return. Can I change it in Get My Payment? If the bank account is closed, the bank will reject the deposit, and then they're actually going to just mail you a check, they're saying. They're just defaulting to the mailing a check. They're trying to avoid scams that way. I know it's frustrating, but a lot of people are getting mailed a check. The silver lining there is they're going to start mailing checks next week, the week of the 20th, 4/20. I used direct deposit to split my refund between several accounts when I filed my tax return. Can I use Get My Payment to designate which account it's deposited in? Unfortunately, if you did that, you cannot designate which account it went into. It's going to just go into the first bank account listed on your form 8888 on the allocation of your refund form. What does it mean when Get My Payment says need more information? You're eligible for a stimulus check, but they do not have your direct deposit information to send your payment electronically. You should provide your bank information on that Get My Payment tool, otherwise you're going to receive that paper check. Can I use Get My Payment to check the direct deposit status if I change my payment method to direct deposit? Yes, you can use it to check the status after you provided bank information. Updates will be made no more than one time per day. A locked status, unavailable. What does it mean when Get My Payment says please try again later? Your account has been locked, they're saying. You'll be able to access that application after 24 hours have passed. They say do not contact us. There's no answer here for the people who have been locked out for more than 24 hours, but really, judged off what they're saying, they're going to just say, wait, they don't have your information yet, or it's still processing. That's kind of the answer we're getting for everything. Why can't I get my payment status? To use Get My Payment, you must first verify your identity by answering security questions. If the information you entered does not match your records, multiple times you're going to be locked out for 24 hours for security purposes. If you verified your identity and received payment status not available, it means that they cannot determine your eligibility for a payment at this time. This may occur for a variety of reasons, they're saying. For example, if you didn't file a 2018 or 2019 tax return, or you recently filed and it was returned and isn't fully processed yet. Why am I receiving an error message when answering security questions? One tip that they had, your address might be wrong, and to double check the correct address or the correct way to write it, look at your tax return and see exactly how your address is written on the tax return, because small little nuances in the address could actually affect your ability to provide proof of who you are on this form. If your address is different than the last tax return you filed, can you change it using the Get My Payment tool? Unfortunately, you can't. If you've not filed your 2019 tax return yet, you can update it on there, they're saying. And finally, I requested a direct deposit of my payment. Why are you mailing it to me? This is the question a million people are asking. They're saying it's possible that they do not have your correct bank account information. If they don't have that, or your bank rejected the payment, they're going to just mail you a payment to try to prevent any fraud. They also are saying they encourage Americans who did not file a tax return in 2018 or 2019 to use that non-filers tool to ensure you get that payment quickly. We all basically know that. And then the final note, Get My Payment will not allow you to change your bank information once your payment has been processed. We already went over that, and they just keep on saying don't contact the IRS. I can't imagine how many calls that they're getting. So that's basically all I have for today. I just thought it might be helpful to go over this IRS fact real quickly on this nice Sunday afternoon. Until next time, thanks for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I hope you have a profitable day.